Okay, we're recording. This is the second part on how you can make your own super fuel. You out there that want to replicate this, I would advise that you make it a simple rocket launcher and that you put this 1 gallon container into into a section of steel pipe. Okay, if the fuel is not prepped proper, it is going to blow. Okay, and so I'd like to talk on the generation of vacuum in this vessel at the same time that the fuel, water, air vapor is being burnt down. So the velocity was so fast I didn't see this leave, and then my second test was actually mounting this, doing a bench test, and I could actually watch the reactions. I didn't have a camera at the time. I talked to people at MIT and all that on this, and they told me I was full of it. But people on the MIT and all that, they're not fully aware of what's actually taking place. I got a leak in my pen here. I'm going to have to do away with this one. Okay, another pen I can use. Forgive my spelling. Gas vapor. All right, there you have it. Okay, right about there. So as I was doing a stationary test, and I was watching this 1.5 to 2 inch by 36 inch blue-white flame at extreme high velocities into the above the went beyond the sound of a jet taking off into the ultrasonic range. Maybe it's a 2 to 3 second burn. And when I was doing the stationary test, I watched as the vapor dropped because the sun was shining on it, and I could see the gas vapor. And as the gas vapor dropped, I also noticed that the gas vapor was being replaced by vacuum. And so when the gas vapor went all the way down to the end, the last bit of it was consumed, and then there was a loud pop, a loud implosion, where air came in and filled the vacuum. So, I've done a lot of research on YouTube and all that, and I've never come across any kind of combustion process where, having one combustor like this, where vacuum was generated in opposition to the fuel being used. So that tells me that the burning of the fuel was, this regular gas, water, air mix was generating a combustion process so fast that the flame velocity was burning so fast that it overcame the vacuum in 1 atmosphere. In 1 atmosphere, like Vancouver's on the, right on the ocean, so the pressure of that altitude on the water was just incredible. And for 2 years later, I couldn't, I tried generating, I took the same container and all the gas vapor I was feeding the bottle, the gas vapor, and I was having the feed coming off it. And it took 2 years before it actually could get the gas vapor to burn. And what I found out was, I was using like a 3/4 inch copper pipe, feeding the gas vapor using a 1/4 inch line to feed the copper pipe, the gas vapor, the air, the water, and the fuel vapor. I found out that it took very low pressure at very low volume for it to work. It took me 2 years to find that out. I tried everything. normally you take a torch, you turn it up, crank it up, and you light it, and it works. It took me 2 years to find that out. But after all this time, going through the JOEPIPE technology, that learning curve for the last 10 years, I've come to realize that if you took something like this, where you got your air bubbling through to water gas, you're going to find out that that's going to be your gas to your water ratio is going to be about 3 water to 1 gas. That's what it works out to. Now, I was using high octane fuel at the time. What I did to the container, to the bottle, I left it in the sun. And that's what the Lord showed me to do. That's what the Holy Spirit showed me to do. Leave the sun shine on the bottle for about a minute, and it caused some kind of reaction. And what I believe this is to be after almost 20 years is that the sun shining on the container, the clear plastic container, that it was being affected by the ultraviolet light coming from the sun. And for those of you that are up on your ultraviolet, the 240 nanometer range ultraviolet, you could use that. If you had an airflow, like a quartz tube with dry air going through, dehumidified air, and if you had a strong enough UV on the outside of that quartz tube, that the air inside would be converted into H3, into ozone, okay? And I think some of you guys out there, the light's going on. But in this case, I had air going through water and gas. So, 1/3 of the fuel was composed of wet air, or say 2/3 of it was composed of wet air, like a humidified air. And so as the sun was shining on it, the UV converted the wet air, or the unhumidified air. If you had a quartz tube, if you had your wet air going through, humid air going through, that the UV shining on the wet air wouldn't change it into E3, but it would change it into nitrous oxide. Now, for you out there who are into the race car business and all that, you can easily blow up an engine if you use too much nitrous oxide. And I believe this is what happened. That's one of the things I like to try is make a light box with a quartz tube going through it and shine the ultraviolet onto the quartz tubing, and maybe there might be enough retention as the fuel goes through where it would be converted into nitrous oxide. It might be better to actually make a container. If you got your water, gas, and air, you take that and you can actually put that into a light box, okay? And so you got your vapor fuel being generated here. You put the whole thing into a light box. Use maybe 50 LEDs or something like that. Really intensified UV light box. And you could try it. You could have a switch where you could have the fuel connected to a torch, and you could try it under normal conditions. You got your like a propane torch, and you got your fuel going through it. You can light it, see how it reacts, and you can also try it. While you get it to burn. Once you got your gas to burn, you can click on the UV and see that makes a difference. But if it does, and if your water vapor does get converted into nitrous oxide mixed with gasoline vapor, very, very powerful. And that, I believe this is what increased the velocity or the flame propagation rate of the rockets that I was doing back in 1998. For you out there that, your techs out there, different universities, I'd like to get back to you. And I just relaying the facts at the time. I've had no test equipment at the time. I did manage to send many 1 gallon rocket boxes, raw plastic bottles, 60 to 70 feet up in the air in a matter of a split second. And as I was saying in my first test, I didn't see a leak. I had duct tape to a stick that was nailed to the test shed, and I was looking right at it when I went behind the test shed and took out my long 24-inch match, and I didn't even see the bottle leak. It was up in the air. It left that fast, and the shrink wrap was left behind, totally intact. That shrink wrap is like that around the bottle. And I tried to tear it off, and it just couldn't be done. But I left it totally intact, not even a rip in it. So it shows you the power, the force that was generated. It didn't explode. It just created a very strong flame that went from the the low end, like a torch, to a detonation effect. And I don't know what the flame velocity would be. It might be faster than hydrogen, faster than HHO, because the flame itself, intuition was telling me that was burning in the fourth state of matter. And like 1 gallon of water, fuel, and air mix is not going to generate a flame that's 3 feet long and 1.5 inches wide. It's impossible. Third state matter doesn't have that kind of ability. Okay, this is the second part. I might come back to do a third part, and the third part is going to be how you can use this fuel to use it as a supplementary fuel to run a JOEPIPE application. This is Joshua Taylor coming to you from here on the east coast of Canada, trying to share a little bit of discoveries that came on my way these last 20 years that you can begin to make, take what I know and make it to designing your own furnaces and heaters and things like that for the times that we're coming into.